how to boost your event apps adoption rate. My name is Rosa Garriga Mora. I am the Marketing and Communications Manager of Mica, who is an event app provider. And I'm very happy that you're here with us this morning. This is the agenda for today. First, I'm going to start with a little introduction on what event apps are. Later, we're going to see the top 10 ways to boost your event apps adoption rate. So how to get everyone at your event using your mobile app. And what we're going to do is share the best practices that we've learned through working with many events and many clients during this past few years. I'm going to speak for around 20 minutes, and then at the end, we're going to do a Q&A session. So in the meantime, throughout the webinar, you can ask any questions that you have using the questions box in the control panel from GoToMeeting. And then at the end of my presentation, I will answer any questions that you have. So let's get started. So what can you do with a mobile app? Well, first of all, it's a very convenient way to include all the event information on your participants' pocket in a digital way. So you can include the agenda of the day, information about the sessions, the speakers. You can also have interactive maps so people can find their way around inside the event and also outside. You can also include practical information on how to get to the venue, or for example, what hotel they are staying at. You can send push notifications, etc. And also a very important feature of event apps is that they are a way for participants to express themselves and to network. So they can use the app to ask questions during sessions, to participate in polls, in surveys. It's also very good for networking because they can see a list of everyone who is at the event. They can send messages to each other, meeting requests, etc. And in fact, there is a new study from CNIT called The State of Mobile Event Technology in the UK. And from all the sample that the people they interviewed, which is more than 500 people, 91% of them said that they have seen a positive ROI, return on investment, from using an event app. So that's very high. And besides, they said that an event app is only 1.2% of the budget for each attendee. This is for events that have over 100 participants. For smaller events with less than 100 people, this is going to be a bit higher, but still it's low, especially if we compare it to printing paper. This is much cheaper than printing paper, as it's much more scalable. However, the bad news is that there are some costs to it, and here we have the example of an iceberg, because sometimes there are apps that are even for free or their price is very low, but sometimes it can be like this iceberg where the costs of the app are very low, but actually there are some hidden costs, indirect costs that can be much higher. And here I'm talking about, for example, all the time that you spend researching for vendors. I don't know if you're familiar with Event App Bible, but it's a great resource from the Event Manager blog. It's an ebook that contains a lot of research that they've done on mobile apps, and they found that there are hundreds of vendors. I'm sure there are more than 300 suppliers of event apps. So obviously that means that it may take you a bit of time to look into all these vendors and decide which one is best to work for, and so on. And also you may spend time obviously briefing your team, briefing everyone else at the event, introducing all the event information into the app. So it can take a bit of time, especially if it's your first time. And unfortunately, you may you may make a big investment on this, but it's not going to be worth it if your event attendees don't actually use it. It may be like throwing money under the toilet. So that's why it's so important to learn how to boost your event app's adoption rate, to get many people to use your app. And I know that this is currently is a concern for many event planners, but we know that from our experience, we've seen that if you do all these techniques that I'm going to show you now, you're going to get 80% of the people at your event using the app, and then it's going to be a very good investment. So let's see how we can do this. First of all, you need to ask yourselves why. Why do I need an app? Do I really? And I like this picture that shows want versus need. So you need to ask yourselves, do I really need an app, or do I just want it because our competitors are using it, or because it's trendy, or maybe because your event participants are asking for it? But why? And does it make sense to with your event? Will it add value? It's also very important to put yourself in your attendee's shoes. So to think about, for example, are they tech savvy or not? Do they want an event app? Are they looking to do networking at your event? Are they shy? Do they need an app to ask questions? You need to think about like if you were them, and see how the app would add value to you. And if those two things make sense, if you say, yes, I need an app because it's gonna bring value to my event, and I know that my event attendees are going to enjoy it and use it, then go for it. Then the next step is to choose an event app that's very user friendly. As I said, there are hundreds of options out there, but not all of them are equally comprehensive. So your job is to choose the app that's more user-friendly, that's just very intuitive. Almost it doesn't need any explanation. And you can also make it easier by, for example, what we do is at the cover of the event. So when you open the app, you get a tutorial where you have an explanation of, well, this is what the app is about, this is the menu, this is what you can do. And in short, just make sure that people, don't need a lot of effort to make it, to see how it works, and they can make use of all the features. Then it's very important to communicate it. Communication is so important. And so you have to make sure that you communicate how to download the app in as many ways as possible. And also you have to start doing it with some time in advance. So say maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks before the event, you already start saying, well, we have an app this year, this is how you can get it, and this is the process. If maybe they need to log into the app, make sure that that's easy. And here is an example from an event that I've just been, I was here yesterday, and I found this is a very simple way to make people download the app. So this is the back of the badge. And here, as you can see, it says download our mobile app, and there is a web address. And then there are the Wi-Fi details. So if you have people using Wi-Fi as well, make sure that you know how to get to the Wi-Fi. It's very clear, and it's everywhere. I found this is, I wanted to share this chart with you as well, because I think it's very useful. This is also from the study I was telling you about, the state of mobile event technology. And here they also asked, what's most effective at driving app downloads? And the most effective technique is email marketing. So sending emails to your event attendees saying, we have an event app, and this is how to download it. An email. That was the most effective way, but it was closely followed by on-site signage. So throughout the venue, you can have signs, either printed signs or digital signs, again reminding people to download the app and to use it. Then we have social media. So using Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, or any other social media network that you use, just sending messages saying, hey, remember to, this is the link to the app. Also seeing maybe people are using social media to say, hey, I cannot use the app or it's not working. So keep checking that as well for feedback and and reply as soon as possible. So social media is also very useful. And then many people said that embedding a web-based guide on the event website, so a web version of the app, embedding it onto your event website is also useful. And finally, we have a link on the registration page. So as people register to the event, at the end, there is a thank you page, and then they are taken to the link to where they can get the app. And then the last technique that people said was effective is to remove all printed materials. So obviously, if you don't have the agenda program, if you don't have paper with the agenda program, then people are going to have to check their app. So that's also effective. And so from what we've seen from in our experience, you should aim to have at least a 50% download rate before the event. So say if your event is on Tuesday, by Monday you should aim to have at least half of the people already, they should have downloaded the app. And if you have achieved that, then I can tell you that you are on the right track. Another technique to get many people using your app is to brief the speakers in advance. So what you want as well is that the app is not just a mobile guide of your event, but if it makes sense, you want your speakers using the app throughout their sessions to make people ask questions, to create quizzes and polls, to make sessions more interactive. Because in that way, you're gonna make the most of the app, and sessions are gonna be more dynamic, and people are gonna be again reminded of, well, the app is there. There are many things I can do, and it's a way for people to keep coming back to the app. But in order for the speakers to use the app, you have to brief them in advance. And for example, what we've seen, what we've done with our clients is to say, well, maybe 2 months before the event, I sent an email to our speakers saying, this is the app that we have, this is all you can do. Maybe you send them some slides with all the information. So make it simple and clear, but make sure that you do it. And then have an on-site help desk. So it's very easy to have just a couple of chairs and someone from your event app provider or someone from your team, someone who is there to help your event participants use the app. And also maybe if you have especially many speakers and many sessions in parallel, and they're going to be using the app for Q&A sessions and votings, then it's also useful to have someone at the desk to help them. So to brief speakers as well during the event. This is also very important. So throughout the event, make sure that you're all the time monitoring what's going on. So say that you have this session where there was a quiz planned or a Q&A planned as well, and you see that not many people is using the app, that just a couple of people are actually asking questions, then you might wonder, why is this? Is it because maybe people don't, have forgotten about it, or maybe the Wi-Fi is not working, or why is it? So keep checking it, and if you see that there needs to be a push, maybe you can send a push notification, send a message to the app and say, hey, remember that now it's the time to ask questions, and you can use the app. And that's going to make people, alert, and it's going to remind them of using the app. This is also very important. And here I chose this picture, which is quite funny, because it shows that multitasking is not that good, and that's the same for events. So I have this example of an event that we were working on a couple of weeks ago, where there was a lunch. There was a lunch session, and during the lunch, the speaker had planned to do a Q&A session. So he wanted all the event participants to ask questions with the app. But you know what? Most people were just busy eating, using forks and knives and spoons. And of course, they were not using the app. They were not checking it. So they didn't ask any questions. And that's a very simple mistake, but it's something to bear in mind. So to design, as I call, mobile friendly activities. So make sure that people don't have to multitask, that it's easy for them to use the app. Then I also recommend using social media walls. So this could be, for example, here as we see, it's like a collage of pictures that people have sent through Instagram, also tweets and messages that they send through the app. And here in the middle, we have also the event logo. So this is something that can be done very easily. And for example, you can project these social media walls during the coffee breaks, or maybe in between sessions. And it's just a way, again, for people to remind, okay, this is, there is stuff going on. It's also many people, I'm sure, that they want to appear here. So they will say, oh, I'm going to take a picture of myself so I can be on the social media wall as well. And it's, again, a way for people to keep coming back to the app, because one thing is the download rate. So how many people download the app, but then it's also important that people keep using the app throughout the event, because that's what's going to make your investment, your ROI, really high. So this is a simple way and fun way to do that. Then, of course, this is also very important to have a good Wi-Fi connection. And I'm sure that you've had this image too many times. And, sometimes when the Wi-Fi, if the Wi-Fi is too slow, if you have too many attendees for too little bandwidth, what's going to happen probably is that the app is going to be slow, so it's going to take a bit of time to load, and then people get very frustrated. If they have to wait 2 or 3 seconds with this screen, they are going to give up, and they are going to think, oh, the app doesn't work. But actually, the app, there isn't any problem with the app. It's just that the Wi-Fi is a bit too slow. So make sure, in advance, test in advance, do a speed test, and make sure that you have enough bandwidth for the amount of people that you're going to have at the event, and make sure that it goes quickly. That the app is able to load quickly. And then I also recommend adding some fun activities. And here we can have games, or for example, this is from our photo sharing service. So it's like a private Instagram where people can send their pictures. People can comment on each other's pictures or like them, really like an Instagram feed. And that's again a way for we find that people really like it. That it's very popular. And again, it's a way for people to keep coming back to the app and checking it often and using it. So here, this is my last best practice for today. I hope that you have learned some useful information for your next event. And now, my last bit of advice is to just do it. Don't be afraid, and be confident that if you follow all these techniques, I'm sure that you're gonna get many people using the app and using it often. So you're gonna get a great ROI from your event app. And now it's time for questions. So if you have any questions now, just use the questions box on the control panel, and I'll be very happy to answer them. Or otherwise, you can also send me your question by email, as you see on the slide. It's rosa.garriga@mica.com, and I'll get back to you as well. And also, for your information, I've recorded this session. So I'm going to send you a link afterwards to the recording of this webinar, and also I'm going to share with you the slides so you can share this webinar with your colleagues or with your friends. Okay, so I'm just going to wait now for questions coming in. Okay, we have a question from Anka. She says, what do you recommend for a higher adoption rate, to use a native app or a web app? Well, this is a great question, and I find that many people still don't really know the difference between native and web apps. So I'm going to try to explain it in a very clear way. So basically, a native app is an app that people have to download from the App Store or the Google Store, and it's going to be stored in your phone. And a web app is just it's like a website, but it's the app in the website format. So to access it, you have to use a browser, Internet Explorer or Chrome or any of them, and then you can access the app. But yeah, that's the main difference. And then there are some services that you can do with native that you cannot do with web app, like for example using integrating beacons or sending push notifications. But the main difference I would say is the ability to download, and yeah, and also with native apps usually you can make more customizations with your event branding. And so, to your question of what's best when it comes to getting a high adoption rate, I would say that maybe it depends on your audience. So, what I'm seeing now is that especially young people, they tend to be a bit wary of native apps because maybe they don't have that much storage space left on their devices. So they are like, well, why do I have to download an app that's going to be on my phone, taking up space, and maybe I just go to the event for one day. So I don't want to go through the hassle of downloading the app and then deleting it. So they may be, yeah, that may be off-putting for some people, and then I would recommend using a web app. But in other cases, people prefer a native app. So I would say it depends on your audience, and also if they are traveling from abroad, if they are going to have Wi-Fi at the venue, or they can use 3G. But I would say, yeah, it depends on, each case is different. So if you can offer both versions, and then there is always something for everyone. And if not, then I would say it depends on your event and your audience. Okay, we have a couple of more minutes left, and so you still have time to ask any questions that you may have. Okay, so as I see that there are no more questions for now, yeah, I just want to thank you again for taking the time to listen to our presentation this morning, and I hope to see you again. And if you have any questions afterwards, feel free to mail me at rosa.garriga@mica.com. So I wish you a great rest of the day, and thank you, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.